Alright, welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings in the YouTube Atheist Community and Stickam Fun. Yeah, Stickam was okay last night. I stayed way too late, very busy and such. Windy out here, sorry about that. Piero did sneak in under a fake name. He almost tried to fool me, but it didn't work. I caught on. Anyway, what is that guy doing here again? I don't want to deal with him. Newtowns. Yeah. Whatever. That's what they say. Whatever. That's what I say is whatever. So what was I? Yeah. So Stickam. Yeah, it was interesting. It was okay. It was kind of thin on material. So I guess I'll just talk about the Hannibal Barca bullshit. I don't mind making some more videos. I mean, it's just kind of ironic that he's saying somehow I have women defending me, and he can be guilty of all kinds of these trespasses, all kinds of this misogyny, and to be serious, the rest don't call him out on it. Seems a curious hypocrisy, but whatever. All the people commenting on his video, I'd like to understand what exactly. I'd love to see you people actually paraphrase what the argument is about. Snatch Squatch, or whatever, Cunzilla, whatever her name is, thing too shitty to be real. Why don't you try to take your neurology, your incrementally evolved intelligence, and actually articulate what the argument's about here. There is all kinds of room for speculation about how humans develop their intelligence. Really, a ton of them. There's a ton of ways to explain the facts that exist. Now this asshole is saying, I have a parrot. I have the skeleton of a parrot. And I'm going to tell you that parrots were Einstein. That parrots landed on the moon. Because parrots are different than other birds. They can make different sounds than other birds, therefore. It's like saying howler monkeys are just anthropology. Let's just look at their bone structure and their skull, and we'll say, no, they're distinctly different. They landed on the moon, no doubt about it. I mean, it's just idiotic. Our verbal skills, we can go back to Africa right now, today, and you can still find some primitive tribes living their natural life. I mean, it's harder to do nowadays just because they've all been sort of polluted. But they certainly could do it in the 60s. Now we're going to get back to my Natural Geographics education. But yeah, there's all kinds of interesting facts about how the natural beastie called human lived. And most of them didn't have complex languages. So this idea that our larynx and all this other stuff developed in tandem with the concept of a complex language capable of conveying intricate conceptualizations is just kind of nonsense. We to be serious, is it legal to talk about this stuff? Or oh no, you're going to be called stupid and told to shut up, right? I mean, you're such a fucking hypocrite. We're not allowed to speculate on how humans developed their intellectual advantage, right? That's not a legitimate conversation, because you're going to be shouted down and mocked and ridiculed if you dare talk about this open subject, not a closed subject, an open subject. Okay, one open to lots of different theories, where we don't have volumes and volumes of decisive evidence. So anyway, I mean, your hypocrisy is just obscene. So anyway, let me get to my point. There's all kinds of reasons why we have vocal cords, and they probably substantially have to do with the fact that the size of our skull reduced, and unlike a howler monkey or some other beastie, we went from making deeper sounds to making maybe screeches like birds. But what is key is the idea that we can understand that humanoids the key thing they did when they started walking upright was walking, okay? They hit the ground running, so to speak. And it became important for them to be able to communicate probably over distances. And vocal cords are very good for making sounds that will travel distance, okay? Just like you can hear an eagle from, you know, a mile away, that's the magic of it. You know, it's almost like whales in water. It's the deep sounds that go forever. Well, in oxygen atmosphere, well, in air atmospheres, some of those high-pitched sounds can travel quite a distance. So anyway, this is, you know, I'm not arguing that this is the truth. I'm just saying the truth is that the acquisition of intelligence could, as a practical fact, have very little to do with any direct connection to the fact that we communicated through more eccentric tweets. You know, that we had a different bird song. I mean, you can't judge the intelligence of birds based on their song, and you can't judge the intelligence, in my opinion, of primates based on their song. And we can see it in these primitive tribes. Some of them just have click languages. Some of them have languages, you know, with just, you know, maybe 100, 200 words. Incredibly crude, ineffective languages. They don't need vocal cords. Most of what their communication they do is by gesture and sign language. You know, where they're signal to each other when they're hunting, or you know, they have certain roles that they play and they have expectations. It's almost like the you know, Asian languages have a lot of gesture tied to the meaning of the same sound. So they can make the same sound, the same word, in different circumstances, and depending on the gesture they make when they speak the word, decides what the word means. So it's just much more complicated than this. The simple point of my video was that we did not incrementally, biologically acquire our intelligence. We had the capacity, the potential to land on the moon when we were still stick and stone dumb. I mean, just barely different than an ape. The difference between using a rock on the tip of your arrow and a bone on the tip of your arrow, that tiny difference, okay, in behavior that was being rewarded by natural selection, that tiny difference made the difference and made us capable of landing on the moon. And my argument, another argument I'm making, is that difference might well have been acquired through some idiot savant change in brain structure. Not a significant change in brain structure, but just one that happens through natural evolutionary process where there's a defect, the priorities of the brain are changed. So we have these six senses, we have these five senses plus our conceptual sense. And so I think it's within the realm of reasonable speculation to say that if you have these five senses and the wires get a little bit confused, and all of a sudden most of your brain activity is now connected to just two of your senses, that those senses become heightened and that your behavior and your mental capacities will change because of that. You know, you'll be able to extract more of some things and you'll be less capable of other things. And we see that in human beings. And my argument is that it's that kind of subtle change that is responsible for how we use our brain space and which ultimately led to our capacity to do language. And that it was language, a symbolic modeling language that was the whole ball game. Was 90%, 99.99% of your cultural sophistication is dependent on that language. Without it, you lose the substance of the distinction between you and a chimpanzee. All right, instead of just pulling termites out of a hole with a stick, yeah, you'll sing them a song and I don't know, put honey on the stick, you know. So you'll have some extra little stupid catch that you'll add. But that's all nature gave you. All right, it was completely incidental to what nature was rewarding evolutionarily that led to us having the capacity to store knowledge on paper and other things, to learn over a 10,000 year period, basically define reality, and become organisms that could land on the moon. It was not a function of progressive evolution. It was an incidental, accidental consequence of a minor change that gave us a slight behavioral difference that evolution was rewarding. Evolution and natural selection haven't even tested our high intelligence yet, and there's every likelihood that our high intelligence will in fact fail by natural selection because it makes us too dangerous. The nuclear gun in the hand of what is still a dumb ape, except for a knowledge base. So anyway, and then there was a comment by Graytex where he used the word ephilism, as if this video has something to do with ephilism. I'm sorry, I've pleaded with people to take one of my ephilist videos and make a response to it, and these cowards will not do that. So he digs up some 2-month-old video on an obscure subject. I retract nothing I said in the video, but I will argue this is so meaningless. I can't even express how meaningless this argument is. How is this at all significant to the meaning of life on Earth, or anything to do with ephilism? This subject of how exactly we acquired the distinctions that make us distinct from apes, and how exactly would the fact that I'm arguing that maybe a slight surgical augmentation of a great ape would make them language capable, how exactly is proving that to be impossible, which is not being done, but what is being stated is I can't say that on the internet apparently. How exactly is that speculation evidence of some flaw in the theory that life is a DNA molecule replicating itself for no good reason? I'm sorry, this is the most nonsensical, goddamn idiotic, moronic drama ever in the history of fucking YouTube. You people are all fucking hypocrites, conniving, weaselly, petty pieces of shit. I cannot believe that I'm going to have to make a series of videos defending the right to speculate on how humans acquired their intelligence difference, and that I have to explain that humans 40,000 years ago weren't landing on the moon, they weren't behaving in some sophisticated way, they weren't holding their pinky out when they were drinking their tea, that none of that shit was happening, okay, that we have acquired everything that we call meaningful intelligence, all right, without any biological change in our structure. I mean, to have to argue that is so fucking preposterously stupid. But anyway, that's the argument you want on the internet, apparently. Apparently you want human beings to be shown to be not even worth anything. They have intelligence and they can't even fucking goddamn use it. You people are so fucking scummy and petty and weaselly and conniving and dirty playing that you even insult the very thing that you say makes you distinct, that makes you better than these primates. You insult that very faculty. You insult logic and intelligence. And then you defend how you're so much superior and how you must exist in the universe because god damn, it just couldn't exist without your magnificence. You're a fail. You're disgusting failures. And petty. So anyway, so how many response videos you do want? And when am I going to get my response video to an ephialist video? When is one of you weasels, you weak weasels who are trash talking about me, when is one of you going to grow enough balls to play one of my ephialist videos and prove one sentence to be outrageous? Come on. Come on. Alright, enough of a video. Fuckers. Ah, I made it. Phew. Didn't go over time. So anyway. Yeah, you people are just disgusting. So you're on my fuck you list. Yeah, I have one of those now.